All right, so continuing on with Vox amplifiers, you can't really have the discussion without bringing up Brian May's sound. Fortunately, I do have this amplifier from his same era. I've seen in some videos that he does use super reverb twins in some of his amps. There's a lot of things to discuss about Brian May's tone because it's so unique. For starters, his Vox AC30, he has all of the knobs completely on 10. All the chicken heads are all facing this way, and his tech states it in the information that's available online. We have to find a workaround for that because I can't put my Vox on 10. If I blew my Vox up, I'd be very, very bummed. Brian has quite a few of them. But nonetheless, this is the workaround for it. See, Brian has, his pickups have some special phasing stuff on them, and he's able to go like humbucker, or he can change both of those humbuckers to singles, and then he can put those out of phase, and he has a lot of little tricks down here on his guitars that he can do, and I don't know anybody that owns a guitar that actually has those phasing tricks, unless you're buying a Brian May reissue guitar. I think that they must include that on there, but it's very, very unique, and it's what gives it that notched kind of phasey kind of sound. It has a very, very mid-heavy notch to the sound. Earlier in the tutorial, we talked about getting a Brian May sound with a cocked wah sound, because once again we were finding the cue of that EQ, so we could get that notch sound. In this setup here, I'm in my Axe Effects, and there's a model of the Metal Zone Distortion in there, and that stock model in there has that notched EQ sound to it. Very, very believable, as a matter of fact. And then because we're not gutting our amplifier all the way up, we're not going to get all that extra compression out of our amplifier. So I've added my compressor, so as a workaround to try to find the Brian May chemistry of his sound without owning the same gear. Once again, I'm going to stay tone knobs all the way up, volume knobs all the way up, only on humbucker in the rear. I have a Ross style compressor turned on, so not real hard compression, just something to give me a little bit more sustain, because I'm not going to get it from turning my amp on 10. And then through there, I miss everything else in my pedal board. That's all I got on, is just that compressor. It goes into my Axe Effects, and then my Axe Effects hits the Metal Zone, and then at the end of the signal flow in the Axe Effects, then I have my delay turned on 800 milliseconds. When Brian runs his rig, he runs a wet dirty rig on stage. So he has his primary Vox AC30 in the center. And then when they mic that, then that has the availability of going straight front to house. That way he's not getting the arena sound before it gets to the arena. He's feeding them a dry signal. And then if you can imagine, if you have side fill monitors on stage, then Brian has another Vox AC30 for his left side and an additional Vox AC30 for his right side that both get mic'd. So he has 3 amplifiers that are all mic'd up. One's dry, it goes straight to front of house. Left and right go in through a little mixing thing, and that enables them to put 800 milliseconds on one of the wedges or side fills, and 1600 on the other. So you're getting, for it's a 2-to-1 ratio basically is what it is on his delay. So it just gives you that real swimming delay sound. Front of house, they can treat it how they want, but we've put 800 milliseconds on our primary amplifier, so we just have a wet rig going on. But nonetheless, it's what we're doing is a workaround to his rig. So if we had additional amplifiers, it'd be pretty easy to set that up. But we're doing it so that you can hear it in a sense of, how do I get that sound and not blow my whole room out? How do I get that sound and not have to pay $5,000 for each amplifier? So on and so forth. So anyway, this is our workaround with the gear that we own to nail the Brian May sound. One thing that you probably hear in this example that will be just a skosh different than Brian's is Brian uses a 6-pence coin, and that coin it's serrated on the edges, and so when you use a pick, it sounds a little bit more polite. When you listen to his solo on his record, it's got this little edginess that's abrasiveness kind of to it. And when you look at the detail in between his pickups and things like that, you can actually see the shavings from his sixpence coin from meeting up with the strings, because the sixpence is actually softer than the nickel string is, so it's shaving some of that coin as it comes off. So I'm going to play it with a pick, so it'll sound just a skosh more polite, really, is the best way that I can think to put it, than using a serrated edge of a coin. So anyway, here it goes. I'll give you a sample of how I've dialed in Brian May's sound.